How's it going, Yankee fans? Welcome back to Fireside Yankees with your boys, Alex and Ryan. Today we're talking about the bright future at shortstop for this Bombers team, Anthony Volpe. Now, I know Volpe's had inconsistencies. I know he's been a little bit off at times, but the kid has been mashing ever since the chicken parm fiasco. And right now, I'm pretty excited about what he can offer in the future. This is a player that could hit 20, 25 plus homers, steal 20, 30 bags a season. I mean, you tell me that looks like a pretty good, productive player, and his defense has been excellent lately. There's some people that still come out and comment he's a terrible shortstop. He's not a good... Nonsense, foolish, abysmal. Why are you even here? This defense has been fine. Like, he's been a good defender this season. I think he actually leads the Yankees in the history of the team with defensive runs saved. So you tell me, look at the numbers. They tell a different story than whatever these people are saying. You know, it doesn't make any sense. His arm talent is there. He's good to react. He's quick. The errors have dissipated over time. He's been really good over the last couple of weeks defensively since the All-Star break. And offensively, he's picked it up pretty significantly too. Yesterday, had that 3-run homer. He looked fantastic. He also picked up 2 walks. Volpe looks like a good player right now. He's, hitting at a pretty good clip, and we're excited to break down his stats, what he can offer this team for the future, and why we are very bullish on him becoming a very nice piece for this Yankee team long term. But Ryan, before we dive into the good stuff, how you do today, my friend?
I'm doing great. As you mentioned with Anthony Volpe, right? Like, there were a lot of concerns about, how good of a defender is he? And, I thought that the Yankees were going to eventually have to go to Peraza there. But as you mentioned, like, he's not just like a pretty good defensive shortstop. He's not like all right there. He is really, really good there. This narrative that he's like just passable, right? Like, there are the growing pains early on, but he's been elite. Like, he looks like an elite level defender out there. He's putting up numbers that will get him in the Gold Glove conversation. If he's not at least in the conversation, it's going to be I'm going to be pretty upset about it. I know I can admit when I'm wrong, and I was wrong about this. Volpe's a great defensive shortstop, and I hope he sticks there for a while defensively. Look, when we're looking at his numbers since the chicken parm incident, if we're talking, I'm saying incident as if it was a bad thing, but, a 115 WRC plus, 250, 341, 429 slash line, like, that's not going to stand out to a lot of people, but we're talking about a large sample size of being a pretty good hitter, right? Being a pretty good hitter over that sample size, and kind of underperforming a little bit. You look at the batted ball data, you look at the walks, you think the number should be a little bit better. I think they certainly can be. He's a guy who I think has a lot of, really strong projectable tools. His hit tool has gotten a lot better over the course of the last few weeks. Since July 21st, he's whiffing under 21% of the time. He's barely expanding out of the strike zone. Now, he's going to have to figure out a way to gel that quality of contact he was putting up earlier in the season alongside with his plate discipline lately. It feels like it's either one or the other. They haven't really gelled together yet. But if they do, this could be a really good ball player. And, the way I look at it is if you're getting that 11 defensive runs saved, 4 outs above average, really good base running, and you're getting a 110 to 115 WRC plus, that's going to be between a 4 to 5 WAR player. And I said this coming into the season. I said this about Anthony Volpe, at every stop I could before he debuted. And that was that the hype around Volpe is that he's a really well-rounded player, and there aren't many well-rounded players that play premium defense at a premium position and provide premium base running alongside pretty good offense in the league. Those guys just don't exist, right? These guys are very rare. Like, there are a few guys here and there, but the Yankees certainly don't have any. And if Volpe's a 4 to 5 WAR player, his career is a massive success, right? Like, if he gives you 4 to 5 WAR production every year, he's not going to win MVP. Like, we were spoiled with Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge is, best player in the world candidate every single time he steps up to the plate. Anthony Volpe isn't that, but that doesn't make him a bust, or that doesn't make him undeserving of his prospect status. This is a guy who can be a high floor player for you, give you an even higher ceiling. Like, if he ever takes it to that next level with the bat, like, let's say there's a year in his prime where he puts up a 130, 140 WRC plus, then we're going to be pushing 7, maybe even 8 WAR talks, and that could be a pretty special season. As you mentioned, the raw power looks pretty good. He's able to put up home runs and extra base hits. It's just a matter of getting that average up a little bit, getting the on base numbers up, which, you expect that to come with better contact rates. I kind of look at Bobby Witt's rookie season as a really good example of what I kind of envision his career path going like. Now, Bobby Witt this year has been phenomenal. He's given a 111 WRC plus, and he's taken massive defensive leaps. I'm pretty sure he's top 30 in the league in WAR. So he's been one of the best players in all of baseball this season. But if you look at what he did last year, he had a 99 WRC plus. He didn't play great defense. He was a pretty solid baseball player. Like, his base running carried a lot of his value, but he had to learn a lot from his AAA to Major League stint. And then at the Major League level this year, after getting off to a little bit of a slower start. He was able to put things together in the second half. He's looked a lot better. Progression isn't always like just instant, right? You don't always have guys who come into the league and they're Aaron Judge, right? Where they 2017, arguably should have won the MVP, or they're Mike Trout, again, arguably should have won the MVP. Those type of guys coming, they come and go. They're rare. They're generational players for a reason. Juan Soto comes up at 19, he kills it. I think those type of guys ruin the perception on prospects, not in a bad way, just like people expect too much instantly. Volpe's still growing, and Volpe's only 22 years old. So, I guess the question I have for you, Alex, is, going forward, what's the one tool you see that Volpe has right now that you want to see get better specifically? Is it the contact rates, the walk rates, the power? What is it that you want to see him improve upon over the last couple months?
That's a really, really good question. And honestly, it's kind of hard to answer now because he's starting to put together and fix a lot of the problems that we had kind of seen earlier on in the season. But I'll tell you, there has to be something that he's not doing quite well. And I think the primary one is he's hitting fastballs pretty well. I'd like to see him get a little bit better at hitting breaking balls and off-speed pitches. Hitting 141 against breaking balls and 132 against off-speed pitches. This is a normal thing for young players. Like a lot of them, they track fastballs really well. Like you're looking at, for example, if the Yankees call up Everson Pereira soon, he's going to hit fastballs well, but he's going to struggle with breaking pitches. I guarantee it. I mean, if you look at most players across the league, they hit fastballs well. They struggle against breaking pitches. This is a normal kind of thing. But when it comes to Anthony Volpe, there's a couple things that he still kind of struggles with. I think he gets baited really, really easily by those high fastballs. We've seen him really, swing at balls that, you just shouldn't swing at because I think it's more of an instinctive thing. It's coming in. You think he could hit it. He just swings underneath of it. So I think, that's something that he's gotten a little bit better at, but I'd like to see a little bit more improvement there. And then breaking balls, he sometimes gets fooled on those pitches that are trailing away from him, especially against right-handers. So I feel like that's something where he could stand to improve. He's been really not good against right-handed pitching this season. He's hitting 203 with a 280 against right-handers, but against lefties, he's hitting 240 with a 340 OBP and 846 OPS. So clearly there's a lot to improve there. For example, over 101 plate appearances, he has 26 strikeouts against lefties, but against righties, over 329 plate appearances, he has 93 strikeouts. So the clip in which he's striking out is significantly more when it comes to right-handed pitching. So I'd like to see him improve a little bit there. Of course, it's going to be a little bit different because he is a righty, so naturally it's going to be more problematic. But I'd like to see him get a little bit better against breaking pitches. I'd like to see him lay off some of those high fastballs and really just improve his swing decisions. His strikeout rate is still a bit elevated. At 27.7%. He's gotten a lot better recently. August was better. August is doing fine. I know July he had a pretty good month. So right now I feel like he's trending in the right directions and things that we want to see that are, maybe a little bit problematic right now. But Ryan, what do you think about that? I think the breaking pitches, the off-speed pitches, the high fastballs, those are the ones that really stand out to me in places he could improve upon.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think his issues against breaking balls are definitely something we need to see improve going forward. One of the walks, I think it was on a 3-2 count. It was facing Soriano. He came in relief. And it was a 3-2 slider down and away, and he lays off of it for a walk. And I remember I immediately texted one of my friends, Anthony Volpe swings at that in June. If it's June, Anthony Volpe swinging at that pitch. And I think that's a really big progression there, the improvement in plate discipline. But as you mentioned, it's not just about, okay, I know when to lay off of a slider down and away. Now it's about, hey, I can recognize that this is a slider. I can get my bat to the baseball, get my bat head, generate a sweet spot or a barrel, whatever it may be, and get results, right? End of the day, this is a results-based industry, and you can't just rely upon, all right, I know that this pitch is a strike or I know this pitch is a ball. That's great. Now it's about hey, now I can recognize this as a strike and I'm going to hit it. So, end of the day, Anthony Volpe, I think the breaking ball thing is huge. And this kind of ties into it too. I want to make sure that his contact rate's stabilized. They've gotten a little bit better as of late, but Anthony Volpe's bread and butter is being a guy who doesn't whiff a lot, and that was something that was super concerning early on because that was something he did struggle with. So it's a concern, right? It's something that you want him to get better with. You want him to have, the same compact swing he had at the minor league level. You want him to have those skills translate because not that the Yankees aren't a team that this year specifically have struck out more than other teams, nor is it an issue if you strike out as long as you're putting up the offensive production. But the issue with the Yankees, it feels like, or at least the issue with their lineup, it feels like, is that they're slow, they're unathletic sometimes, right? Or not unathletic again. These are athletes, so they're all more athletic than myself. But they're a slower team. They struggle to put the ball in play consistently at times. They also struggle a lot with quality of contact in terms of generating sweet spots and generating the right launch angles. And when you want Volpe to eventually be your leadoff guy, you would like him to put the ball in play more. So number one, he gets more hits, he gets on base more, and number two, he can steal more, right? It feels like his stolen base tool is something that's kind of come and gone in terms of how aggressive he will be. But I'm not too mad about that, right? Like I understand, it's not you can't steal 17 bases without getting caught and keep that up for an entire season. You're gonna get caught, you're gonna slow down your pace a little bit. But Volpe can be a 30 stolen base guy. I mean, how many guys have the Yankees had in the last 20 years that are that for the Yankees? They really don't have speed, and they're not a fast team, and I really need them to be that, right? Like you mentioned, Everson Pereira, he's not going to be as aggressive of a base stealer because he's kind of slowed that down because he deals with a lot of injuries. So I imagine the organization was like, all right, we need you healthy, so just stop running, man. But he's a fast guy. Like he'll go from first to third, right? Like we're not really looking at it just from a stolen base standpoint. The Yankees are just a slow team. They get thrown out on the bases a lot, not just because of poor decisions, but because they're just slow or because they're just not fast enough. This team they've been aggressive on the base paths. Like they kind of want to run. We see Rizzo stealing. And last year I saw Josh Donaldson attempt multiple steals. They want to run. They just don't have the personnel to do it. And could you imagine a Yankee team that, is top 5 in home runs, but also top 5 in like stolen bases? Now you got a dangerous lineup here. Now you got a lineup that can kill you in multiple ways. And now you've got a lineup that's a lot more fun and refreshing to watch. And, I know that fun and refreshing doesn't always translate to wins, but when you're getting wins and you're doing it in a way that's aesthetically pleasing, like it feels good, right? And overall, this league's is going in a younger direction. All sports leagues as a whole have kind of tilted towards being more aggressive with younger players and bringing them into more prominent roles. And I think baseball and the Yankees, they have to adopt that. The Yankees have to absolutely adopt this. I see you smiling over there, Alex. Come on, like you can't tell me you don't get a little excited thinking about like Jason Dominguez swiping 30 bags, Everson Pereira running from first to third on a single from Volpe, or Volpe stealing second. Like these are the type of stuff you want them to do. Aaron Judge hitting while Anthony Volpe is trying to steal second base. If you're a pitcher, you got a lot of pressure put on you. So just being more dynamic. That's really what I want the Yankees to do, and I think Volpe's a big part of that.
You know what? You know what really just hit me hard right there? The fact that we actually have athletes that can steal bags, make a moment happen. Like, you watch teams like the Rays, right? Like, the Rays are athletic, they're speedy, they have guys that can steal bags, they can make moments happen. I mean, for goodness sake, you saw Luis Robert Jr. against the Sox the other day, stole freaking 2 bags right in front of us, and we knew it was happening. Like, they're going to steal the bag, and they do it anyway because they can. Like, that's what we need here. The Yankees have guys like this ready for the picking, ready to be pulled right out of the minor leagues and injected into this lineup. Volpe was one of them. Peraza can steal bags. He's got good speed. Dominguez has got good speed. Pereira's got good speed. There are so many players up and coming here that can make an impact in that facet. The problem is, the guys that we have on the team now, Rizzo's not stealing any bags. DJ LeMahieu's not stealing any bags. Judge can't really steal any bags. Stanton can't even freaking walk, let alone run. I mean, we have a lot of guys like Bader can steal a bag. Jake Bowers, not really. Who else do we have in this? Gleyber Torres could steal a bag every now and again. Billy McKinney's damn is well sure not stealing any bags. Greg Allen doesn't even play, so there's no point even listing him there. There's a lot of players on this team that literally can barely run, let alone walk. So I feel as though right now we could use the injection of some youth, some fresh legs, some guys that can make a moment happen. Guys like, this is how teams do it. Like, this is how teams score runs. You get on base via a walk. You have a guy that has speed. You get on base. You steal second base. A single bats you win. Like, that's how teams get runs in a lot of times. It doesn't only have to be home run balls. You get on base. You steal a bag. Yes, all you need is a single. If your leadoff man walks and then another guy hits a single and you stole a bag right there, bam, like you're golden. That's a run. That's a free run right there. You know what I mean? So that's where I see Volpe making a big impact. If he can increase that walk rate even more, get on base, make better contact, whether it's a hit or a walk. He's walking at about a 10% clip. That's pretty solid. I feel like that's not bad at all. And then Judge hits him in if he steals a bag. Like, I really hope that Volpe gets to the point where we could trust him as a leadoff man. Like, that's what I think ideally would happen. Like, his strikeout rate lessens. He makes better contact. He becomes our long-term leadoff guy. And he can get on base right before Judge. And Judge, who collects hits more than anybody else on this team, whether it's a home run or a hit or a walk, Volpe moves forward. Volpe scores. Like, that's where I see the Yankees could really get some nice advantages in future games. Like, I think that if one of the priorities, if I'm the Yankees right now, I'm going into the offseason. If I don't think Volpe's a long-term leadoff man, I'm going out and I'm finding a leadoff man who's got speed and gets on base a lot. You know what I mean? Like, that's someone I could see. Like, how about the Japanese guy that you just mentioned? He seems like he could be a pretty good, Hu Lee, I believe his name is, something like that.
Yeah, he's coming from the KBO, actually, which is unique because not a lot of guys come from the KBOs to Major Leagues compared to, like, the MPB. So
he walks like a 6% clip.
Yeah, he does. He barely strikes out. He strikes out, rather. Yeah, he doesn't whiff, and he's got good speed. There are definitely options for them, and there are internal options, too. I mentioned this earlier. Like, if you want a guy who works a lot of walks and has a lot of speed, Jason Dominguez is tearing up Double A, and he's doing it for those reasons. Like, yesterday he goes 0 for 3. Yeah, but he has 2 walks and a run scored, right? Like, even on his bad days, his pitch recognition is remarkable. And, overall, for all the criticisms I have of the Major League team and for all the criticisms that I've levied towards, like, how the Major League team is built, these minor league teams are so much fun. These minor league teams are full of talent. I tweeted this out just now, or not just now, like more like a couple minutes ago. The Yankees lead all of baseball in pitchers with more than a 20% strikeout to walk rate at 6. In terms of offensive guys, they have 13 qualified minor league players at the age of 25 or younger who have a WRC plus at 130 or higher. I believe only the Dodgers have more at 14. This farm system is talented. This farm system has guys. It may not have, the number one guy anymore because Volpe is he's been promoted, but they have a lot of pretty good players. And Alex, for a team that already has Aaron Judge and Garrett Cole, it feels like what this team is missing is just the guys around them, right? You have a Gleyber Torres who's pretty solid player. Volpe's looking to become a pretty good player. You have Aaron Judge, obviously. You hope Stanton picks it up at some point, right? And you fill that in with some pretty good players from your system and externally, and you've got a ball club. The pitching staff, they've held it together despite millions of injuries. Like, they walked into this season with 9 capable starting pitchers in Cole, Rodon, Cortez, Severino, Montas, Herman, Schmidt, Brito, and Vasquez. And how many guys of those guys have missed time this year? Significant time, or have gotten worse. So you can't sit here and tell me that the Yankees don't prepare in terms of pitching depth. It's literally just the offense, and their prospect pool, it's gotten a lot better. Everson Pereira, man, I'm telling you, when that service time date passes, which I don't like that we have to use it, but I at least understand the thought process there. You're going to be able to include a bat who not only has hit really well this year, but his strikeouts are coming down. His strikeouts are on like 25% over his last 60 games played. It's not a low mark, but it's definitely low considering what Pereira's used to doing. So, I'm very excited about this future, and, I'm excited in the sense that the Yankees with a chance to go in a direction that could give us some really exciting baseball for the rest of the season and 2024. And they're 3 games back in the loss column of the Blue Jays. You get Pereira in that lineup, you get some guys back healthy, and we'll see, man. Maybe it's like 2016. You don't have to make the playoffs, but we'll see. We'll see.
I agree, but we got a lot of baseball left, my friends, and Volpe is red hot, or at least he's hot. He's getting there. He's looking pretty good, and I'm really excited about what he has to offer this team. I think a lot of people are. Hopefully you learned a little bit about this young player in this episode, so we appreciate you guys tuning in as always. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.